I even think we're going to have a UFC fight. Does anybody watch UFC, the Great Dana World? We're going to have a UFC fight. We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We're going to build a little, we're not, Dana's going to do it. Dana's great, one of a kind. We're going to have a UFC fight, championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some...
Did Donald Trump just resurrect Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall? That's right. The most cursed super fight in UFC history might be back on. And this time, it's on the freaking White House lawn, July 4th, 2026. UFC 300-something. Nah. UFC declaration.
Championship fight, full fight, like 20, 25,000 people. And we're going to do that as part of 250 also. We're going to have some incredible events, some professional events, some amateur events, but the UFC fight's going to be a big deal.
Dana's going to build it 25,000 people championship fight. It's happening. Trump's back in the Oval Office, and Dana White, he's already greasing the wheels for what could be the biggest MMA event in combat sports history. Forget Madison Square Garden. Forget Fight Island. This one's at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
But other than that, Jon Jones behind the scene is not a guy that turns down fights.
Would you guarantee 100% we see that fight?
Yeah, I'll say 100%.
You heard the chants. You saw the tweets. USA versus England. Book it. Jon Jones, the GOAT, back for one final mission. It has to be. Tom Aspinall fans aren't asking. They're demanding Aspinall versus Jones at the White House. Just take my money, bro. It's symbolic. Declaration of Independence. England versus America. Book it. Trump, Dana, Bones, Aspinall. July 4th. Let's go. And what better storyline? Jon Jones, retired unbeaten in a decade. The last American heavyweight king, Tom Aspinall, the British wrecking machine. Interim champion. Never lost in a real fight. He's beaten everyone. DC Gane Reyes, the GOAT, but one name keeps haunting him. Tom Aspinall. Jones tore his pec and the Superfight died. But now, it's being resurrected on the most American soil possible. This isn't just a fight. It's Legacy Jones representing the USA back under Trump's watch. Aspinall representing England fighting on Independence Day. You couldn't write this script. Trump Jones is a killer Dana. Nobody like him. But wait, what if Jones says no again? What if he ducks Aspinall again? Fans are already calling for Nunes versus Harrison Izzy versus Strickland 2 or Ilia Topuria's star power to fill the slot.
Who do you think has a better chance of beating him, Alex or Tom?
I'm going to say Tom, because he's more well-rounded. But when you have a guy like Alex Pereira, he's so dangerous on his striking, so everything is possible. That's too hard to have the good ones.
Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall Trump, Dana one fight. One nation, one declaration day. Will the GOAT rise again? Or will Aspinall end the American dream on the lawn of the White House? Drop your prediction below. Jones reigns or Aspinall destroys. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because if this gets booked, we're going all in on Fight Week.
I know he's going to wild out and he's going to do something crazy. Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Jon Bones Jones just dropped a devastating Kanye-inspired clapback after MMA fans accused him of ducking undisputed heavyweight champ Tom Aspinall. And it's savage after Dana White officially announced Jon Jones' retirement following UFC Baku. A fan on X said he'd have been humbled by Tom. That sparked a response nobody saw coming. Jones fired back with a legendary Kanye West quote from the 2005 Grammys. "You would have been humbled by me, but I guess we'll never know. It's not just humor, it's psychological warfare." Kanye used that line to dismiss doubters, showing utter confidence. Jones just borrowed it to assert dominance over Aspinall, even in retirement. Here's the tension. Aspinall claimed interim champ status during Jones's time sidelined, defended the belt, and was expecting the unification bout. But Jones never showed, opting instead to call it quits and retire.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Tom Aspinall is the new UFC heavyweight champion. No longer the interim champion, he's the heavyweight champion.
Aspinall hasn't slowed down, calling out Cyril Gane and others, proving he's the face of the division now, while Jones sits on the sidelines.
Cyril Garn's calling you out, says he wants to fight.
Oh, that's interesting. After I just called him out, went to France and he turned the fight down.
Any interest?
I think he should fight Almeida. I think them guys should fight each other first and see what happens there.
Kanye knew the power of words. Jones now shows he does too. You would have been humbled grabs headlines because it's not just a joke. It's a challenge. Come back if you dare. So is John's diss enough to shut it all down? Or does it start the fire? Will Jones jump back in to prove the point? Drop a comment below. Type Jones returns if you want him back, or ASPINAL for life if you're Team Diluvian. Like, subscribe, because this heavyweight drama is just beginning.
Dana White says he's retired. You were the undisputed champion. How are you feeling a few days after?
I mean, to be honest, I would have rather fought for it, of course. I did defend the interim, though, which is a weird thing as well. Yeah, to be honest, I always saw myself as a champion anyway. I think the whole Jon Jones thing was a bit weird. I think everybody can see that was a bit of a strange situation. But luckily now that is in the past and we can...
Tom Aspinall, the newly undisputed heavyweight champion, isn't sweating rumors of a Jon Jones return. In fact, he says if Bones comes back, he can jump the queue anytime Aspinall was interim champ when Jon Jones went missing for nearly 2 years. He defended his belt once, expecting to face Jones, but Bones didn't show up. Instead, Dana White confirmed Jon retired, promoting Aspinall to undisputed champion.
Timeline for Jones, 2 weeks to decide what to do with the title, whether it takes the fight, or you're going to strip him, or we move the heavyweight division, take the title away from him.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
This is just my dream, you know what I mean? One day I'm going to be UFC heavyweight champion of the world, but I always seen it in my mind.
Tom Aspinall!
A title that could have been his all along, but instead, Jon stepped aside.
Luckily now that is in the past and we can move on, which is good.
Tell me how it happened. You know, your father has come out and said that you knew, but you didn't know exactly. And I think the way in which Dana White did it was surprising. I mean, it caught a lot of people off guard in the middle of the night in Azerbaijan. Is it, announcing this type of retirement? Where were you? How did you find out? And what were those first moments like?
So I had been for a meal, and been out and stuff for the day. I was just getting a shower. It was just before midnight. And I started getting calls on my phone that they'd announced it, and I was like, what's this? I knew that, obviously, I had an inkling that Jon Jones was going to retire and they're going to move forward and I'm going to be the champion. But as you said, I didn't expect it last weekend and I didn't expect it to be in Azerbaijan. All due respect to Azerbaijan and stuff, but I just didn't, it's just not really what I expected. So, like I said, I would have rather fought for it. I would rather take the title from the champion.
But here's the twist. Aspinall doesn't feel slighted. He's embracing the spotlight and he knows exactly where he stands. He's not bluffing. Aspinall understands the weight of being undisputed, but he's ready for anyone, even a potential return from the GOAT
situation. But luckily now that is in the past and we can move on, which is good.
Tell me how it happened. Your father has come out and said that you knew, but you didn't know exactly. And I think the way in which Dana White did it was surprising. I mean, it caught a lot of people off guard in the middle of the night in Azerbaijan. Is it, announcing this type of retirement? Where were you? How did you find out? And what were those first moments like?
So I had been for a meal, and been out and stuff for the day. I was just getting a shower. It was just before midnight. And I started getting calls on my phone that they'd announced it, and I was like, what's this? I knew that, obviously, I had an inkling that Jon Jones was going to retire and they're going to move forward and I'm going to be the champion. But as you said, I didn't expect it last weekend and I didn't expect it to be in Azerbaijan. All due respect to Azerbaijan and stuff, but I just didn't, it's just not really what I expected. So, like I said, I would have rather fought for it. I would rather take the title from the champion. But I honestly believe that I was already a champion in my own right anyway, so a little bit of a weird situation, but it's all in the past.
Do you feel like you were denied the memory, the experience of being crowned an undisputed champion, or at least at a press conference in Vegas? I mean, you were coming here a few days later. Were you kind of denied a little bit of the fanfare that should come along with becoming the heavyweight champion of the world?
You know what? I would have liked to fight for it. The other stuff, it's not really important to me. Like, in a year's time or whatever, people are just going to forget, and I'm just going to be known as a champion anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I've said it a million times, but I just like fighting people.